Mount Airy, North Carolina, a small town tucked between the tobacco fields and granite quarries of the Blue Ridge Mountains. In 1948, a quiet philanthropist named Reuben Darnell, a World War II veteran and former All-American fullback, returned to his hometown after serving overseas. He bought a condemned textile factory, refurbished it with his own hands, and founded the College of Mount Airy, a no-frills, hands-on school designed to teach basic education, hard work, and most importantly, good football. Let the universities build thinkers, he said. We'll build men who hit. The school wasn't glamorous. It had 4 buildings, 1 working restroom, and a cafeteria that served spam 6 days a week. But what it did have was football. Hard-nosed, blue-collar, untelevised football. The Mount Airy Ridgebacks, as they called themselves, didn't have scholarships. They didn't have scouts. They had farm boys, factory sons, and war orphans. And they also had Reuben. Between 1952 and 1956, the Ridgebacks lost only 10 games, but never got the national recognition they deserved due to the lack of televised games. By 1957, the money ran dry. Reuben was unable to pay back the loan he took out to buy the factory. The school had to be shut down. The doors closed, no announcement, no farewell game, just a padlock on the foundry gate, and silence. Fast forward 68 years later, meet Jimmy Darnell, Reuben's grandson. He's a former walk-on quarterback at a D3 school, and after he graduated, he joined the workforce. He ended up working the 3rd shift at the Rockface packaging plant. One late night shift while working, Jimmy fell asleep on the job and somehow lost a hand in a hydraulic press incident. Jimmy would go on to sue the company because it was their fault he got hurt for being so quote-unquote boring. As a result, he ended up winning and got 7-figure settlement and bought the one thing no sane man would ever want: an abandoned, haunted, moss-covered, nearly condemned university. He fixed it up, barely. Reopened enrollment with a max capacity of 116 students. Looking at the university in general, here's what it had. Housing, which were just small sheds that fit 4 people each. No restroom on campus, just porta potties that rarely get emptied. 2 public showers, which were also sheds with rusted tubs and rain-collecting camping shower bags. And there was only 4 academic buildings, all repurposed factory sections. Building 1 was the math, the original metal factory, cleaned the most up, metal walls, steel door, 1 window on each side, and for the math majors. Building 2 was the English building for the English majors. Red exterior, small white windows, busted wooden door, metal roof, 1 room for writing, the other for language arts. Building 3, the history building for our history majors. Brick covered in moss, distinguished by the tattered American and North Carolina flag. And the final building was for the geology majors, so our science building. It was nearly overtaken by nature. Most classes are held in the woods, and students often become park rangers. Looking at the other parts of campus, the admin building was just a rundown half of a post office and half a raccoon motel. The other part of the campus was the cafeteria, which was just a vending machine and a 1994 microwave inside a shed. Jimmy went to opening the football facilities because that was what he was most excited for. He unlocked the field first, and just to see a scrappy, rundown, and mostly dead grass playing surface, surrounded by bleachers that were small, rusted, and partially collapsed. The team bus was just a repainted church van. The weight room had cinder blocks, pipes, and rusty plates. And the film room, quote-unquote, was a 1950s projector that only works if you kick it twice. He unlocked the old locker room, and he found the jackpot. Instead of buying new uniforms, Jimmy found the original gear from the 1950s helmet, playbooks, pads, and camera equipment, and he said, good enough. Jimmy Darnell's philosophy was, if it was good enough for my grandpa to beat Wake Forest in 1956, it's good enough to beat him now. He refused to buy new equipment. He uses a rotary phone in his office, which is just a closet, and Jimmy would eventually come up with a quote that would become the team's motto going forward. Mount Airy Football, the place where grit don't expire.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, and welcome to the very first broadcast of Ridgeback Football Weekly. I am your host, Mitch Slapnuts, broadcasting live from the moss-covered heart of Mount Airy College, and I am downright tickled to bring you all the grit, grind, and gridiron gossip straight from Ridgeback country. Each week, we'll be diving headfirst into all things Ridgeback, from the recruiting trail and the locker room whispers to Coach Darnell's latest crusades and a forward glance at Saturday's showdown under the lights. Now folks, buckle up, because today's inaugural episode is a real doozy. We've got coach introductions, player spotlights, whispers from the recruiting front, like at the season's bumpy road ahead, including a word or two from the man himself, Coach Jimmy Darnell. First up, meet the gentleman steering this rusted war wagon. At the helm is head coach and university owner Jimmy Darnell, part tactician, part fundraiser, and a full-time believer in miracles. At his right hand, directing the offensive symphony, is Coach Mike Baja Kane, and commanding the defensive troops, Coach Jared Keaty, a man known less for schemes and more for spine-tingling locker room speeches. Darnell and Baja Kane say they're focused on bringing in new blood. Keaty says he's focused on lighting a fire under what they've already got. Now let's take a gander at the key personnel suiting up in Ridgeback blue this fall. Under center, the fleet-footed and deceptively daring quarterback Teddy Voss. In the backfield, the thunder and lightning duo of Paul Withers and Isaac Galloway. The anchor of the offense, and some say the heart of the team, is battering Ram fullback Luther Newman. At wide receiver, you got speedsters Benny Darnell and Donnie Magruder, while tight end Earl Bohannon prefers blocking to glory. Protecting them all is left tackle and human bulldozer Garrett Lewis. Defensively, it's grit and gravel all the way down. Tobias Raines at left end, Gene Hayward stuffing the middle, and a linebacker corps led by Jimmy Berry, Otis Miller, and Bobby Malloy. In the secondary, Johnny Ferris plays the ball like it owes him money, with Archibald Turner and Virgil Stroud laying down the law at safety. Special teams? Kicker Jeffy. Yes, that's his name. And punter Brooklyn Guy round out the Ridgeback artillery. Now let's talk turkey. The Ridgebacks' recruiting strategy is as humble as their campus plumbing. Coach Darnell has declared they'll be going after only 1- and 2-star recruits. Why? Because that will return your calls when your cafeteria is a vending machine. This week, we've heard buzz around halfbacks Khalil Abomari and Brendan Sheed, as well as athlete Bobby Duggan and a few others. The coach is simple. Build a rugged run game and a fearsome front seven, even if the jerseys are hand-me-downs from 1956. Let's have a look at the Ridgebacks' 13-week gauntlet, a schedule so tough it should come with a waiver form. Week 0 at North Carolina, aka the rivalry game called the Summit Showdown. Week 1 we take on at North Carolina State. Week 2 is the first home games in 68 years versus FCS East. Week 3 is home versus UCF. Week 4 at Appalachian State, the Blue Ridge Bowl, and the first conference clash. Week 5, home versus Georgia State. Week 6, bye week, aka Men the Porta Potties. At Coastal Carolina, Highway 74 Showdown, another rivalry game. Week 8, home versus Wake Forest, another rivalry game in the Collars Clash rivalry. Week 9 is home versus Marshall. Week 10, home versus Old Dominion. Week 11, at Georgia Southern. Week 12, last bye week. And Week 13 is the home finale versus the Delaware Blue Hens. Coach Darnell recently told reporters that he refined his recruiting approach this week, leaning on his own experience as a college athlete to forge personal bonds with players across all positions, a move he hopes will build more than just a team, but a brotherhood. This week, the Ridgebacks head down the road to Chapel Hill for their season opener in the Summit Showdown, a fierce rivalry reborn after nearly 7 decades. On Woodside Line, the North Carolina Tar Heels, coached by football legend Bill Belichick. They've got NFL-sized linemen, sprint times faster than gossip, and facilities so fancy they've got thermostats in the benches. On the other, the Ridgebacks, who run 5.9 40s, practice with weights made out of cinder blocks, and prepare post-game meals using a 1994 microwave. Mount Airy doesn't have much, but they've got heart, grit, and a whole lot of people who believe in second chances. Coach Darnell says that's enough. That's all from Ridgeback Football Weekly with me, Mitch Slapnuts. We'll see you next week for more tales of grit, grass stains, and gridiron glory. Until then, go Ridgebacks. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the first Mount Airy Ridgeback football game in 68 years. They have reopened their school, and they are now ready to take on the North Carolina Tar Heels in their first game since 1957. As you can see, it is a night game here in Chapel Hill, and the crowd is going crazy. There are the Ridgebacks ready to take the field for the first time in a long time. Mount Airy will start by receiving the football and will send their offense out first. What a kick. It is returnable. Let's see if he does take it out. He will. He's going to get about to the 17-yard line. First play, Teddy Voss is starting quarterback for the Mount Airy Ridgebacks. He's going to hand it to Paul Withers for a gain of 1 yard. They come out in the wing formation. They are a heavy run team running the 1950'S style offense. They're going to pitch it on a motion. He's hit the corner to the right side. Can he reach the first down mark? He's going to be short. They come out in the wing T formation. Let's see if they can get the 3rd down and 1. They're going to hand it to fullback Luther Newman, who gets the first down. Staying in the wing T. They are most likely going to keep it on the ground unless we want to see a first pass play from them. They are going to run a speed option. Teddy Voss takes it to the left side. He's going to pitch it to Paul Withers late. And Paul is going to push forward for 8 yards. 2nd down and 2. Close range first plays. That's what we like to see for the Ridgebacks. They're going to power forward for another first down. Luther Newman is the best player on the team. Everybody has agreed upon it. They're going to toss it to him to the right side. He's going to bounce off his blockers and get about 4 yards. Following the run by Luther Newman, they're going to go back and stay in the wing. They're going to motion Withington. He's going to get the pitch and go absolutely nowhere. 3rd down and 7. They come out with 2 receivers to the right. Will they complete their first pass play, or are they going to stay on the ground? Teddy Voss keeps the play. He's got great blocks to the left side, and he is going to get a nice first down. What a run by Teddy Voss to get the first down for the Ridgebacks. They're going to bring him in motion. Pitch it back out to Newman. Let's see if he can get some nice blocks. He somewhat does for a gain of 4. Newman isn't a very fast player, but he does know how to tote the rock right up the middle with a ground and pound game. They're going to hand this to the backup tight end for a first down. Most of the players on the Ridgeback football team are able to run the ball very efficiently. Teddy Voss is going to keep this to the right side, but the blocks get swallowed up. 2nd down and 9 following the 1-yard run by Teddy Voss. Let's see if they're going to do anything. They're going to bring Withers in motion. Teddy Voss is looking for the speed option. He pitches it late. Missed block, but 3rd and 1. Almost could have been a touchdown if they picked up the nice block there, but it's going to stay short yardage. They're going to hand it up to Newman, and he gets stuffed in the backfield. 4th down and 1. First play in the 2nd quarter. They are trying to go for it. Let's see if they're able to get it. They're going to run ISO to Withers, who's going to power forward, and they're going to give him the first down. Staying in the wing T formation, they're going to hand it right back to Newman, who gets chopped in the backfield. Wing T once again. They're going to keep it on the ground. Another run, and this is absolutely called out by the North Carolina defense. North Carolina's defense made a great play, leaving it 3rd and 18. Will we see the first pass play by the Ridgebacks? We will, but Teddy Voss gets sacked. He fumbles the football, and he gets back on top of it. Following the sack, kicker Jeffy is sent out to make a long field goal. Can he make it? With this crowd going crazy, I don't think he will. He's going to shank it left. The kick is no good whatsoever. North Carolina takes over after a long drive by Ridgebacks, taking up the whole first quarter. This is their first possession of the first half, and it's going to start off with a great run up the middle. What a run for a first down. North Carolina, they're projected to put on the points against this Ridgeback defense, who is known to be a pretty lackluster, but they're going to throw a check down, and it gets shut down by the linebacker. A great play by the linebacker now makes it 2nd down and 13 for the Tar Heels. They're going to throw it to the flats on the right side, but there is a flag. He breaks a tackle. This is most likely going to be on North Carolina. Let's see what the refs call it. They're going to call a legal man downfield. That's going to be accepted for sure. 2nd down 18 following the penalty. What a mistake by the North Carolina linemen. They have a slant wide over the middle, and that will be a first down. Broken coverage by the Ridgebacks gives the Tar Heels a first down. They come in a bunch set to the left. They hit a tight end wide open down the seam, and that's another first down. What a play by the tight end there. He is doing a lot of good work for the Tar Heels so far in their first drive. They're going to run it up the middle. He breaks the tackle and gets about 6 yards. 2nd down and 4. They're going to keep it on the ground, but the quarterback gets stuffed in the backfield. 3rd down and 8. Can the Ridgebacks make a stop on defense? They're in a zone coverage. Quarterback scrambles out left. He misses. Almost could have been intercepted, and they get a first down. Missed opportunity there by the Ridgeback player. We couldn't see who it was, but he had a chance at an interception. They're going to run a screen to the right side, and he's going to pick up a couple yards. 2-minute warning now in the 2nd quarter. Let's see if the Ridgebacks can make a stop. There you get a first down. Correction, it was actually 3rd and inches. Can the Ridgebacks somehow hold them to a field goal? They're going to run it right up the middle. Get the first down, but they are stopped short at the goal line. Ridgebacks call timeout. Ridgebacks most likely trying to save some time to do something after this drive. And North Carolina is going to get stuffed in the backfield. They're going to call another timeout for the Ridgebacks. 2nd down and goal. Can they continue to shut down this North Carolina offense in the red zone? They're going to go for a pass. Quarterback is going to get sacked in the backfield. What a play. Mount Airy no longer has any timeouts, but it is 3rd and goal. Can they make a stop on defense? But they leave a man wide open. That will be a touchdown, Tar Heels. What a play by the quarterback and the receiver in the end zone, wide open. Ridgeback's big mistake. Following the touchdown, the kicker is lined up to kick the PAT, and that will go right down Broadway. Kickoff following the touchdown, 1 minute and 6 seconds left. Ridgebacks are hoping to get something going. Is he going to return it? Fair catch. Starting at the 25, let's see if the Ridgebacks keep it on the ground. They only threw, I think, 1 slash drive. They're going to get first down here. Paul Withers, 6 carries, 28 yards. He is doing some great work. They're going to try to run a speed option, and it's a fumble. They called Withers dead. Ridgebacks are running hurry up. Let's see if they are going to try to throw the ball with 50 seconds left. They run play action to the right. Voss evades a defender. He has a man wide open downfield, and it is caught. That is Bohannon for a big play and a big first down for Ridgebacks. What a play. Are they going to continue to try to run the ball? They try to run the speed option. It's a bad pitch by Voss, and another fumble. Ridgebacks most likely going to run hurry up. They are 35 seconds now. Will they throw the ball or try to keep it on the ground? Voss with the play action to Luther. He gets stuffed in the backfield again. Another sack. 15 seconds left. They're going to try to throw it one more time. Voss running backwards, and that goes nowhere. First time we are seeing the punter for either team. Brooklyn guy is going to punt it deep, and it is not the best kick. He's get down at the 19. North Carolina has the ball left with 7 seconds. Let's see if they're going to try to do anything crazy with the last seconds of the first half. They're just going to run up the middle, and that will take us to halftime. Going into half, the Ridgebacks are only down 7-0 to the Tar Heels, but they have had a disappointing first half. Starting the second half, the Tar Heels will receive. Ridgeback Jeffy is kicking it deep to the right corner of the end zone, and he is going to take it out. Will he get very far? He gets stuffed at the 11. Great golly. What a play by the Ridgeback special teams to stop him in his tracks. They're going to try to run a read option with the quarterback. He has a lane. Will he make a man miss? He gets a first down. What a run by the quarterback to get a first down. Let's see if they keep it on the ground. They will. They're going to run a sweep to the right, and it goes nowhere. Second down 13 following that negative play by the Tar Heels. They're going to go back into the air. They're going to throw a man short in the middle, and he gets a couple yards. Third down and 9. The Ridgebacks are really hoping to get a 3-and-out start to the second half. Quarterback steps up. He is going to run for the first down. He jukes a man, and he is going to end up getting that first down. What a run by the quarterback. He has gotten both first downs for the Tar Heels so far this drive. They're going to keep it through the air. He's going to throw it to the flats in the left side, and a man's going to break a tackle with a stiff arm. What a play, but he gets chopped down. What a play by the running back there to keep pushing forward and not lose yards. They're going to run a screen to the left side. He gets great blocks, gets a first down. Once again, the Tar Heels are moving. What efficiency the Tar Heels are showing on this drive to start the second half. This is only their second drive of the game. That play is incomplete. Good play by the Ridgeback defender to make a play on the ball and prevent the receiver from getting to it. The quarterback is going to step up to the left. He's going to throw it across his body, and that is almost intercepted, but he dropped it. What a crucial drop by the Ridgeback defender there. He could have gotten a great game-changing play. The quarterback's going to step up. He hits a slant to the right side once again, and he is just going to outrun every Ridgeback defender. That will be another touchdown for the North Carolina Tar Heels. They're going to go up 13-0, 14-0 with the extra point, and it's not looking good for the Ridgebacks. Following the touchdown, the PAT is once again good down the middle. Kickoff following the touchdown by the Tar Heels. The Ridgebacks really need to get something going, and he is going to fair catch it. No return by the returner there. Ridgebacks come out in the wing tee. A nice little run for a gain of about 4 yards. They ran the ball very efficiently this game, but when it comes down to third down, they cannot move the ball. Withers here on a great speed option. Great toss out by Voss. He's going to try to outrun man, but he gets hawked down. Withers playing very efficiently. 7 rushes for 58 yards. They're going to run a toss to the running back on the right side, and it goes nowhere again. The left side of the offensive line is playing a lot better than the right side. They're going to actually try the left side again. to Newman, and he goes nowhere. Got about 4 yards. If Newman was a tad bit faster, I bet he could have gotten a touchdown there. Voss is going to keep this one. He gets a giant first down to keep the drive alive. Following the injury there by the Tar Heel player, they're going to hand it up to Newman for a gain of 2 yards. 2 minutes remaining in the third quarter, and the Ridgebacks are going to run hurry up. Their offense is not very fast-paced, so hopefully they're trying to get something going. They're going to try to pitch it. Withers recovers it, and it is going to lose them yards. 4th down and 9. Jeffy's going to push it down the middle, and he actually makes the kick. What a kick by Jeffy. Great kick to make it 3-14. Tar Heel is going to return this one, possibly. It is too far. He's most likely going to kneel it down, which he does. Great kick by Jeffy. Tar Heels to get the ball at the 25 to start this drive. They're going to keep it through the air, which has been very effective, but 2 yards there. If the Ridgebacks can make a stop on 3rd down, that would be very much appreciated by their offense. The quarterback is going to step up and slide. They call him just short. 3rd down and inches, another chance for the Ridgebacks to make a 3rd down stop. They're going to run the ball, and they're going to get the first down. 1st down and 10 following that play, and the Ridgebacks part the Red Sea just for the running back to run right down the middle. What a play by the offensive lineman to open up a giant hole right through the middle for the running back to get a chunk of yards. They're going to throw an out route to the right side for a couple of yards there. 2nd down 3 following the quick pass by the quarterback. They're going to try to run it. No, it's a play action. He throws it to the tight end to the left side. A man dives and misses, and they get the first down there. Another injury. Tobias Raines was the injured Ridgeback on the play. The Tar Heels are going to throw a screen following the injury timeout for a gain of 6, and news is that he bruised his shoulder and will come back in the game. Great to see that Tobias Raines will be able to come back and hopefully make a play for the Ridgeback defense, just like that right there. 3rd down and 5. Can the Ridgebacks make one stop for the first time this game? They're going to make the quarterback scramble out to the right side, and he completes the pass for a first down. What a play by the quarterback to throw going across his body, and then another hole opens up. He's still moving, and he's going to get tackled after a gain of 8. 2nd down and 2 in goal-to-goal situation. They're going to run a pass play. It gets shut down. There is a flag. There is a wide-open touchdown, Tar Heels, but let's see if the flag is on them. It looks like it will be. Holding on one of their offensive linemen. There it is, and that is, of course, going to be accepted. Following the holding, it is now still 3-14. 2nd down and 12. Let's see if Ridgebacks can do something. A great play by the defensive lineman there. Ridgebacks needed a stop here. They got bailed out. There was a touchdown that got taken away. 3rd down and 14. Can they make a stop? The quarterback gets sacked and fumbles the ball, but Tar Heels recover. Going for a field goal now. This should be a chip shot for him, and he kicks it right down the middle. Great kick. 17-3, 4 minutes left in the 4th quarter. Mount Airy still has a chance. Let's see if they return this one out. He will. He gets some great blocks, and he will be taken down around the 20. He should have probably just kneeled it and gotten down at the 25. Ridgebacks keeping it on the ground. They're going to pitch it out to Withers. He gets a great block on the outside, but it only gains him 6 yards. 2nd down and 5. They're going to fake the pitch to Newman. Throws it short to Withers. My apologies. 1st down play right there. What a great pass by Teddy Voss. He's done okay through the air when he's not pressured. Just like this play, he's going to get sacked once again. North Carolina with 3 sacks on the game so far. And Teddy Voss steps back on 2nd down and 18. He throws it deep to Darnell, who comes down with it. What a play by Darnell. How did he catch it over the defender so easily? What a play. That is the type of momentum play the Ridgebacks needed. They're going to try to keep it through the air. Voss out to the right side. He's going to throw it short, I believe, to Newman, who makes the catch. Another injury by the Tar Heel player. Teddy Voss is going to try to counter this one, and it goes nowhere. 3rd and 5. Big play for the Ridgebacks. They need to get a first down to keep the drive alive. They're going to run it up the middle with Newman, who breaks a couple tackles, and he will be tackled just short. The Ridgebacks actually running hurry up, probably just trying to catch the Tar Heels off guard. Let's see if they just power it up the middle with Newman, or something crazy happens. He snaps the ball. It goes right up the middle, right to Newman, and they get the first down there. What a play. They're going to stick to the hurry up. They really need to get the ball moving. 2 minutes remaining, and they're down by 2 scores. They're going to try to pitch it out to Newman. He has some blocks, but he is not fast enough. Gets about 4 yards. Let's see if they keep it on the ground or continue to try to be effective through the air. They're going to run a pitch to the right side. Teddy Voss pitches it, and he gets stuffed in the backfield again. 3rd down and goal. They have to do something here. Voss pitches it out. What a play. Juke by Withers, and he is in the end zone for the first Ridgeback touchdown in 68 years. What a play. The Ridgebacks still have a chance in this game. What a play by Paul Withers. Jeffy lines up for the extra point, and he is going to kick it right down the middle. Ridgeback's not going for the onside kick. They still have all 3 timeouts. They are most likely going to bank on their defense to make a stop, which is risky. What a kick by Jeffy, and this is for sure going kneel down. 1st down and 10 for the Tar Heels. Ridgebacks need a stop to keep the game alive. They have 3 timeouts remaining and 1:41 on the clock. Tar Heels are going to pass on the first play, throw a check down to the right side, and it gets shut down immediately. Timeout Ridgebacks. 2 timeouts for the Ridgebacks, 1:37 left on the clock. 2nd and 14 for the Tar Heels. They're going to throw something short over the middle by the tight end. Caught. Another timeout by the Ridgebacks there. 3rd down and 6. Ridgebacks needing a stop by their defense to just have a chance. They are going to throw a check down to the left side, and that will be a 1st down for the Tar Heels, and that will be the game. Ridgebacks called the timeout, but it's too little, too late. North Carolina comes out in the victory formation. They kneel it, and that seals the deal. The North Carolina Tar Heels come out on top against the Mount Airy Ridgebacks, just like they were supposed to, but a lot closer game than most people expected. 17-10. Gio Lopez wins player of the game for the Tar Heels. Ridgebacks played great, but they need to make some great stops on defense and move forward if they want to be successful this season. But thank you all for tuning in for this game. Make sure to tune in next week for the next Ridgeback game, and I will see you next time.